Welcome to the podcast. I'm May Plannert.
I'm Max Spinelli.
And I'm Ben Kirschenbaum, and we were had.
Again.
Yeah.
Again, we were had.
Almost once a week.
Can you believe it?
There are twists and there are turns.
Defleshed is a standard death.
Oh, that's fun.
We were had.
We were. So we'll get right into it for this time. Today we're doing Roanoke. Roanoke, the Lost Colony. And I'll just tell you now, Adrian Masters, a Texas historian, said that Roanoke is the Area 51 of colonial history.
Wow.
So
The less interesting Area 51.
Yes. This is just me saying we should one day do an episode of Area 51 because that would be.
On it.
Yeah.
And just off the top, I'd like to say I told Ben we don't really need to do this topic. This was already solved and covered by the long-running documentary series on the CW, Supernatural. They figured it out. It was demons. And we don't really need to get into it that much.
I don't even need to hear the theories. I think I'm going to go with that one. Yeah.
Oh,
It was demons.
I assumed that this was just a recap of the episode. I didn't realize that we were actually going to look at other things.
Such a good episode. I rewatched it. You guys researched. I watched Supernatural, and I am ready to discuss.
So you did like the deep dive, like historic, like hard research, and Ben just did like research light.
Yeah. You were like, oh, what did Adrian Peterson say? Whatever. Sam and Dean solved this one, and I watched the footage.
I love the Adrian Peterson. Did you mean to say the former Vikings running back?
Yes. The
Who
former
also beat his kid.
all-star Vikings running back. You don't think I know that?
Are you even good at football if you don't beat the bag out of someone?
You gotta hit
You gotta hit your wife.
You got to
At
bring it
least-
home. You got to bring it home.
At least torture animals. I mean, please.
You got to not
You know
know.
what?
That's
But
my
I-
favorite part of the Michael Jordan documentary when a guy says Michael Jordan was the only person who could turn it on or turn it off whenever he wanted to, and he never fucking turned it off.
How did he know that he turns it off?
Exactly. It's
What are you talking about?
it made no sense.
My
My point is that you've got to be your kids. Yeah.
Yeah. To be
Ben,
to
your
be
running
good at
point on
anything.
this one. Talk about Roanoke.
Let's get right into Roanoke. So I want you all to imagine you are in 1587. Okay, I'm going to take you back to 1587.
Okay, I smell horrible. I've been getting raped nonstop. Got it. I'm there.
And I
Mentally.
just died of childbirth.
I am
And
going
there
to
we
die
go.
in about
Yeah.
2 years.
I'm 14 and I'm about to die of childbirth. Got it. I'm there.
You fucking witch. All right. So 1587. This is the English are kind of, over the past few years under Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, are now getting into the colonizing game, all right? European countries, especially Spain and Portugal, were colonizing different areas of the New World, the Americas, okay? 1587, the Queen orders that they're going to try to settle, the English are going to try to settle a island called Roanoke. And they had made a couple failed attempts before, one particular, but in 1587, a mission led by John White brings about 115 people, mainly men, but also some women and children, to Roanoke, to this island. Okay?
Okay.
We good so
Thank
far?
you. Yeah. Yes.
A few
You
months.
have a very soothing voice. Feels like I'm in a class.
Stop. It's high praise.
I want to pass a note to May saying this guy's a virgin. Go ahead.
Queen Elizabeth virgin. I know another virgin.
You would, if I was a
I know
teacher,
another-
you would have a crush on me. All right. If I was a teacher, we'd be fucking.
You would be taking advantage of me
I
and
would
fucking me.
be. Listen. In other words, I'd be a great teacher.
Yeah.
A special connection with your students.
Absolutely.
Yes, I John White, which is, let's talk about that name.
Yeah, that's a tough name.
John.
White. I was focusing.
John White is
One
like
of these
the
new
identity
agey
shop at
names.
Trader
A
Joe's.
man
Yeah.
named John White supremacist went over to.
Yeah. And
Oh, well,
you know what's
all right.
crazy
Well,
is the Native
foreboding.
Americans.
May
the
sees
Native
where this is
Americans
going.
really clashed with John White at Roanoke.
Yeah. John White is actually a pseudonym. His real name was Johnny Nazi. Okay. So 1587, they go to Roanoke. Very soon after, they run out of supplies. They run out of food. Okay, things are going terribly. So John White goes back to England to try to get more supplies, more food.
Oh my
Here's the
God.
problem. The English were fighting a war against the Spanish, which means that Elizabeth said that they have to use all their ships for the war. So White doesn't get to go back to Roanoke for 3 years. He doesn't go back until 1590. Now,
Right.
when he goes back to Roanoke, it's completely deserted. No
Yes.
one there. No one knows what happened. The only thing that remains is an etching of the word Croatoan on a fence, or to use the fancy word, what was it here? On a, I can't find it. Fence on a fence. So, what happened is the question. Okay, so first of all, what does the word Croatoan mean? So Croatoan is the name of a Native American tribe that was pretty nearby, and it's also the name of the island that the tribe lived in. Okay, so
Right.
do we get right into theories? Oh, let me say a couple more things. So the reason why Roanoke is kind of popular, other than it's a creepy story, is that about 300 years later, when America was actually made a country, they were trying to search for origin stories and stuff. So they went back to Roanoke as this is part of our history. And then 100 years later, it was also used as symbolic of white supremacy. But we don't have to get into that.
Wait, how?
What? Wait, why?
Because
Yeah.
it was the story.
They disappeared. Isn't that the reason white people can't make it?
Yeah.
If anything, it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah, it's not white people's finest hour. I think it was just is this you just trying to goat me into saying the theory of white supremacy, and then you're gonna edit it
Ben,
out?
go ahead. Tell us why you're better.
No, so
I'm scared.
the idea is okay. So the first English-born person. The first American-born English person was born at Roanoke during this group. It was actually John White's granddaughter, Virginia Dare. And the idea is this is the beginning of white people taking over
Okay.
America. This is really the origin of it.
Oh. But Virginia
didn't-
disappeared.
Yeah, she was dead, presumably, right?
Okay, so that's the thing. What happened to Virginia? What happened to the other 115 people? So how about I just open it up?
Wasn't there also famously no signs of distress or a fight or anything?
There's nothing there.
I mean, why would there be though? If he left and then 300. Wait, what do you say? 3 years later?
3 years later.
So
yes.
why would there be necessarily? Isn't there the tide goes in and out and could wash away any evidence?
It's true, and it is an island.
Yeah.
Were they on the beach?
Yeah,
Oh, it's
they
an
were
island.
just they were sunbathing the entire. They were playing that little paddleboard game, and he comes back, and it's nothing. Just the paddleboards.
Hey, John. Here's the thing. 3 years is a long ass time. They very well could have moved. I mean, if I'm Virginia, I'm assuming John White's dead.
Yeah, of course. I'm not
Okay,
just gonna
so-
wait forever.
Okay, so before I get into the theories, why don't you guys, or the major theories at least, why don't you kind of posit some things? Why don't you throw some stuff at me?
Other than demons, we'll move away from demons for a second.
Demons is number 11, I want to say.
I mean, it's plausible.
No, I mean, the big one that makes a lot of sense, but it's which actually, ironically, is the reason why it shouldn't be a white supremacy thing, is because the one that makes the most sense is that they just joined forces with the Native Americans and just assimilated into a tribe or two.
Ooh.
And that's it.
Okay.
And that does make sense.
I have a little bit
And
less
that's
of
why
a harmonious.
they wrote Croatoan there, because they're you can find us on Croatoa, see you on the flip.
Okay, I just feel like the Croatoans murdered all of them and then put their bodies to sea and then wrote Croatoa. No, this is our fucking island, assholes. You blue-eyed
So you took
devils.
it in a different direction. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
So essentially, you have just named the two major theories. Let's start with the assimilation. The only issue with the assimilation thing, that they assimilated with the Croatoans or some other nearby Native American tribe, is that there's not great DNA analysis proof of it.
Mm-hmm.
Although there are plenty of Native Americans now who claim to have European ancestry, kind of like a reverse Elizabeth Warren kind of thing, who want to say so, but not much evidence, just from a genetic point of view, at least with modern, scientific methods. There was a thing called the Dare Stones. Dare named after actually Virginia Dare's mom, Eleanor Dare, where there were some stones, and they probably said that they moved away to the Croatoans, but then that's kind of disputed. So anyway, the assimilation thing, definitely a good possibility, but
A lot of people don't know that family actually founded the DARE program for schools to keep kids off drugs. And that's actually a fun connection to Roanoke. But
Yes.
please continue.
And invented Truth or Dare. Actually, Dare is not.
Yeah. Originally, it was Truth or Virginia, and they thought that was a little confusing, so they went with Truth or Dare.
So then, to May's point, most people, they're not sure if the Croatoans killed them, or another possibility is that the Powhatans killed them, which is a different Native American tribe. And what's interesting is that it's Pocahontas's father who told John Smith when they settled Jamestown. So 20 years later, the English successfully make a colony called Jamestown, and that was John Smith and Pocahontas and all that stuff. Right. Pocahontas's father, who was the chief, apparently, it's only one, word of mouth story, but apparently was like bragging, or not bragging, but I think like that's what the website said. It was like boasting about the fact that their tribe had kind of wiped out, in retaliation, had wiped out a group of English settlers, presumably those in Roanoke.
But okay, so wouldn't there have been some sort of sign of a wipeout? I mean, a splutter of blood, a stray skeleton.
But to my point, I mean, all of them could be just like washed out to sea, right?
But wouldn't that also wash the homes? Or are you saying, Ben, was there no even like houses left? It was just...
The only thing is this weird cryptic message of Croatoan, along with one website that I saw, but it was really only one, said that there was one skeleton. But that was... And it was...
Okay, so there were no huts, there were no homes, there were no toys.
Right. It's completely toys.
Well, that's insane.
There's one vibrator.
What do you think Virginia was playing with?
There were just 6 voodoo dolls. That's it.
Okay, well then that actually works with, maybe there was a fucking tidal wave or something.
Yeah, maybe it was just natural causes. Like literally, there was a tsunami, and
Maybe he's just really into the water theories.
Well, it makes sense.
You know what makes sense is that the tidal wave hit, and it hit so strongly that it actually carved a fully formed word into that fence, and that's actually pretty wild. Yeah, that's actually pretty crazy.
I agree. That's wild and crazy.
like
I
that.
can't believe that's true.
That's actually...
I can't believe
Mother
that's
Nature is insane.
Pretty crazy.
Please continue, Ben.
So I'm going to jump around a little bit because you were mentioning the idea of no remains. Here's a fun one. Cannibalism. The idea that they all ate each other.
Oh.
And there's no real proof of it. However, Jamestown, that colony 20 years later, also English people, there are accounts of cannibalism occurring in Jamestown. So these people were not like above cannibalism.
Trash.
They gotta do
Wait
what
a
they gotta
second.
do.
But what, you can't eat bones. You're not eating bones. There would still be bones. How many
Yeah.
times can I say bones?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Right?
make any sense for
But
that
it's-
reason.
Or were they
But
munching
it's a
on
fun
bones?
theory. I don't know why you gotta.
I mean, unless they just dumped all the bones out of shame.
Yeah, they were like, gotta
In
hide
the
it.
Let me
I also love
in the water.
I love the theory though, because that really does mean that there was one left standing. That one like really fat guy was against the tree. And he just carved it into blaming on the Indians, but he ate everyone else in the town.
There was just a serial killer there.
Yeah.
Serial killer cannibal.
That's fun.
And this one's related to one of the more outlandish theories, and there are a few kind of more supernatural outlandish theories, a zombie apocalypse.
How?
Nice.
How do you mean? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. How you mean?
It just said zombie apocalypse, to be honest. It didn't really expand on it.
Didn't expand on that.
It might have been an ad. I'm not sure.
So they're saying that there was one zombie and then they all turned into zombies. That's the
That
theory?
they all became zombies. Oh, yeah, I guess it's got to start with one zombie. And that
There was.
they all
I
ate
was
each other.
actually reading an article, and it was like it talked about Virginia Dare, and then like the next sentence was doctors hate her, and I was like, why? And then it was an ad in the middle of the page, the web page. I wasn't on a really good article website. And then I scrolled down and it continued about Virginia Dare. Doctors hate Virginia Dare.
Okay, how come?
Okay.
So we'll move on from zombie apocalypse because I have no.
There's nothing else to say
There's just
about
a
it.
dash there, and there's nothing underneath. Okay, so disease obviously is a possibility. A lot of colonizers, there are different viruses, different, diseases that they.
What a
come in contact-
disgusting time to live in.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Horrible.
I'm
Ugh.
glad we're past disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No more
The pandemic.
viruses. All right, so I'm going to go through a few more boring ones. The Spanish, who had some areas nearby in Florida and I think also in Virginia, they could have attacked and they could have killed them, not Native Americans.
That's a PC theory, I think.
Right, white on white.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right.
Also,
And
what
again,
happened to
blaming it on the
Spain?
Native Americans by writing Croatoan.
The Spanish are like, are you fucking kidding me? I'm not getting caught holding the bag on this one.
Oh, Spain used to be badass, man. And
The
then
hint is that
now
there's a
they're just
little
like-
accent over the A in Croatoan.
That's their calling card.
A tilde.
Ah, fuck. The N is an Enya. Yeah.
They wrote Croatoan, but there's an upside down question mark.
There's a little sombrero above the word. Oh, man.
Missed opportunity.
All right, so the next one I'm going to give, do you want another outlandish one or do you want a more realistic one?
Well, I want to hear, because being the learned man that you are, I want to hear your real theory. And then also, I would like to hear the most outlandish one that you think actually has some legs.
So
I haven't heard
think
aliens or demons from your bitch ass yet.
Demons. My bitch ass does have demons here and does have aliens actually as well. The
Right.
demon stuff.
It
So
always comes with those two.
a lot of the more like mythological explanations come from different myths within like Native American tribes and Native American kind of religious stories. And one of them is that if someone or a group of people is like sinful, essentially, which probably the colonizers were, then
Yeah, good
a
people.
evil spirit in the form of a reptile would attach itself to them, and that this demon is the reason why it happened.
Okay. So, like Hillary Clinton unzipping herself.
It actually was Hillary Clinton.
It was Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
That's a theory I'm going with.
Yeah. I'll tell you
Oh
what,
my God,
could have been
you
in
guys,
the emails. We don't
her
know.
maiden name is Croatoan. Hillary Croatoan Clinton.
We just solved it. Finally, answers. Okay.
So I think probably.
Actually, what about the theory that all of the people from Roanoke actually moved to Little St. James and started what was later founded to be Jeffrey Epstein's colony?
Okay, well, the second part. So I was going to get to a theory that is related to that, just minus the pedophilia, which is
Sexy.
that, or it might have included. I'm not quite sure. But again, these were pretty short notes. But the idea, and this might be the one that I believe, and it's water related,
Okay.
is that they were starving and that they took the remaining ships and tried to go back to England and actually died in the Atlantic.
Oh.
Oh,
That's
well, yeah,
logical.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's so fucking lame.
It's lame, but it's probably right.
Or, I mean, honestly, maybe they were shooting for Croatoan and they were like, we're going to Croatoan, we're taking the boats, and they just didn't make it. Was the 4-year-old Virginia manning the boat, or who was
Yeah.
steering this
Right.
vehicle?
That's actually a great combination of theories. I like that a lot.
Is Croatoan
Yeah.
a place, or that's just a tribe?
Both. It's both the
Okay.
tribe and the
The
place.
island, the
Okay.
closest island to it. Like, they knew
Yeah.
about them, right?
They most definitely knew about them. Yeah, from the
Yeah.
previous.
Well,
trip.
because they fucked up the previous folks.
Yeah, there were also a lot. Right, exactly. During the first trip to Roanoke, there was already some bad blood between the colonizers
Yeah.
and some of the Native American tribes. So that's
But I came across something that was like in what was it, the late 90s, archaeologists found a few things that like suggested remains of both Native Americans and very early settlers living together. And that's like the harmonious, friendly version of, you know what? They just lived happily and assimilated into a couple tribes.
It
Like
would
they
be
found
nice.
they found like an old sword with like a Native American, I guess like a dried maize corn. I don't know. I didn't read it fully, but they found some things that would.
They settled together raping each other's women, each other's 14-year-olds. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's really.
How
Oh
nice.
man.
I love how in the best case scenario it was still terrible for the women. Terrible.
So I'll talk a little bit about the word Croatoan and some of the interesting ways that it's showed up in history since Roanoke. Apparently, Edgar Allan Poe, the famous poet, famous writer, his last words might have been Croatoan. After disappearing on a trip from Virginia to Pennsylvania, he turned up nearly unconscious and babbling incoherently and died in Baltimore. Oh, in a gutter in Baltimore, Jesus. And while on his deathbed, he apparently said Croatoan. There's also some other
Really?
accounts of people saying Croatoan in weird places. There was a horror author named Ambrose Bierce, vanished while in Mexico in 1913, and the bed he slept in had Croatoan carved in it.
Oh, come on.
I mean, here's the thing. It's demons.
Now,
That's demons.
Here's a fascinating one. Amelia Earhart
No.
wrote it in her journal, found after her disappearance in 1937.
No way.
No way. In what context? What context did it
Was
say?
she like, oh, I've always been fascinated by Roanoke, and I had the word Croatoan.
It was just a list of
Her
words she was
last
trying to
entry
learn.
was
Croatoan, noun.
XOXO Croatoan. See you on the flippity flop, Amelia.
What happened to that bitch? We should do an episode on her, maybe.
We should definitely do an episode.
Yeah.
Oh, we should. Well, it seems like if we solve this one, we've also solved her. So knowing all that, Ben, what do you think? It's demons then. It's demons.
Wait, you
I
also
think
had-
it's another option that we haven't even talked about yet. This one I found in several, sources saying possible causes. They became trees.
What?
Not lying. I saw that in a few different places, so it's got to be reasonable.
I don't understand what you're saying. You're saying that a human being became a tree? What are you talking about?
That they all became trees, and apparently this was another Croatoan belief that you become a part of the land. And I guess
If you
trees.
die?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're murdered, then you're buried in the soil. Sure, you become a tree.
Yeah, that's a thing you can do if you pay enough money. You can bury it in Brazil and turn it into a tree.
Yeah.
So I think that I like the explanation that you gave, which was kind of a combo of a couple with the trying to get to Croatoan and dying on the way. And that explains why they wrote it and also why they died with no remains.
Well, no, I was saying that's the one that makes the most sense, but I know it's demons. So, I mean, I know
Of course
it was
it's demons.
Well, no, presumably the demons are what caused them to die in the ocean. Demons control all of our fates.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Demons would never make it that easy and quick. Let me tell you that.
I suppose the last thing
Here's
that we
the
could
thing.
talk about briefly is okay, so one more theory. So the guy who was in charge of all of this from England, not John White, but the guy who was like kind of the ultimate puppet master, was a man named Sir Walter Raleigh, and Sir Walter Raleigh is the capital of North Carolina is named after him. And he was sort of the right-hand man of Queen Elizabeth and was in charge of these very important operations. The other theory is that he was screwed over by a rival named Francis Walsingham, and that Walsingham created this whole plot to purposely screw over the mission to make Raleigh
Get
look
out.
bad.
Oh.
So that guy flew over there and fucked him over, or murdered everybody?
Yeah.
No, I don't think that he personally did it, but he had it arranged that they would be put in an impossible situation. So this theory can hold with other theories.
Or they put measles on their blankets and send them off to sea or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is
That
something
tracks.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting thing about Walter Raleigh, there were some theories that he was the real Shakespeare.
What?
He wrote some poems and he was alive at the same time. I mean, I don't.
Wait
think
a
that
second.
there's
You know
much-
what's insane? that completely doesn't register to me that this was at the same time. That at the same time that Shakespeare was writing his plays, we were also doing this. Like, right? That doesn't seem like it's the
That's
same time.
What do you
Crazy.
feel like happened first?
I feel like Shakespeare happened first.
Oh no, I think Shakespeare happened after.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like, I don't know, evolved.
Because the plays are so
The
good
plays,
still.
I
They're
know.
just
Because
so
they're so
good.
relevant.
They're
I
so
mean,
re-
lions. You can do it with anything, really.
You went with
Comedies.
instead of fairies or like witches, you went with lions.
Lions. Well, that's
You're
Hamlet
thinking
was
Lion
written
King.
about
You're
lions.
thinking Lion King. Yeah, I
Yes.
gotcha. I gotcha. I thought you were saying like he wrote about things that just aren't existent today, like lions.
Well, he
and-
just his final play, Croatoan, actually was a tragedy.
Wait, I want to go back to like the Amelia Earhart and all those other places
Sure.
where Croatoan were, because I feel like that's really
That's where the nuggets
freaky. That's freaky.
I believe I left one thing
Yeah.
out. 1888 stagecoach robber. Oh, stagecoach robber Black. I think I might be a stagecoach robber Robert Black.
Okay.
Not exactly. Okay.
How much stagecoaches could stagecoach Robert Black rob if he could?
Stagecoach could be robbed.
So he etched the word Croatoan into the wall of his prison before being released and never seen again.
Okay,
Oh my
I'm not
God.
taking any more theories. It's demons.
It's literally either demons or the OG Rickroll. Like that's the last thing you do before you disappear. It's just like to fuck
They're-
with people.
They're all just in on it. They're like, let's fuck with people until the end of time and be forever famous and write Croatoan on our fucking bed.
Yeah, that's fair. They may have all known the Roanoke story. You kind of said this with the Amelia Earhart thing. That's
Yeah.
a pretty.
Yeah.
If I ever decide to disappear on purpose, I might just say Croatoan.
Why
If
not?
I ever do something dangerous that might end up with me being dead, of course I'm going to set it up to people think it's like a big mystery. Like if I'm going skydiving, every time beforehand I'm writing on a post-it note like Croatoan or something. Just in case.
Just in case. I saw aliens as one of the things.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah, you didn't even touch on aliens.
Wait,
So May's looking at my notes here, and all of the notes, I have a list of possible theories, and all of them have some like explanation to them. Number 11 just says aliens with no.
and I'm like, that's the one I believe. Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
A lot of supporting evidence.
You don't have to say more.
Have we considered that all the people got struck by lightning at once and just disappeared?
And blew up.
They got deflashed and blew up.
That's logical too. Oh my god.
I'm trying to see if there's any more interesting things here. One more tidbit about Walter Raleigh, not that you asked, but one more thing is that he was like really in good with Elizabeth. I think they had a bit of like a Giuliani-Trump relationship. Like it was like very like
So they fucked?
no, but the falling out was that Walter Raleigh fucked one of her chambermaids behind her back.
No.
And well, he married her, but I think fucked is more intriguing.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
both
Yeah,
presumably.
that's actually-
And they were sent to the Tower of London. They weren't sent to death, but they were sent to the Tower of London and eventually released.
Is
But-
that a bad thing? What's
yeah,
the Tower
remind me
London?
of that.
Is it a prison?
It's like prison?
Oh, the Tower of London is a yeah. It's the last level
That
of the
sounds
Lord
nice.
of the Rings.
I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah,
it sounds
right,
like.
Yeah, it sounds
That's where Sauron
luxurious.
lives.
In my fucking ivory tower in London. It sounds amazing.
Yeah, I was hoping to stay in the suites at Tower of London. Oh, that's good. So what were the
Wow.
aliens? What did the aliens do? What part of aliens?
Again, it just says aliens on this page.
It's just the laziest thing ever. It's like we can't figure it out. So aliens. I don't know.
Aliens?
I think I just wanted to talk about aliens.
Yeah.
Well, aliens make sense in any sort of situation where
You do realize anytime there's a mystery, every single one of our episodes will have number 12. Aliens?
Aliens?
It's always going to be an option.
It's gonna be like a murder mystery where like clearly the husband did it, and I'm gonna be like, aliens? I don't know.
Could have been aliens.
Could have been aliens.
There's also a lot of murders in history that I would say I don't want to rule out demons that didn't have a play, because there's so many times that people were like very like credibly were like, I don't remember doing that, like, and they look you in the eyes and like, I didn't do that, and like they're on camera doing it. It's like demon, like get possessed.
I like how you said they look you in the eye. How many people accused of murder do you know?
Listen, I haven't seen a lot of dead people, but I've seen a lot of murderers and looked them in the eyes and say, did you do that?
Did you know, I read some statistic that statistically you walk past like 15 murderers in your life, and I was like, that seems really high.
I thought that seemed really low.
Oh, really?
In New York?
Yeah, how many? I don't know. I mean, you can't get away
higher
with murder now.
That's
I
also
feel
a
like.
very unfair, because it's going to be different in New York as opposed to, buttfuck Nebraska.
Well, that's why
Yeah.
it's an no. Well, because I mean, in bumfuck, they're accidentally murdering regularly when they're going
They
shooting.
are? Oh.
Oh.
Yeah,
also
that's
with like
true.
saws.
Also chopping each other's limbs off. With saw.
Well,
I've
I
never
would
been
be
to
more
Nebraska.
concerned
Full
about how
disclosure,
many-
I've never been to the Midwest.
I would be more concerned about how many perverts you've brushed up against whilst walking. or
Oh,
being in a
so
subway.
many. Oh, definitely. So many. Did you guys have that
I mean-
house like growing up? There was a house in my neighborhood where like it was known that a sex offender lived there, and like my parents told me about it. And then like
Oh yeah, yeah.
and it was always like the urban legend where you'd be like, we have to run by his house because he's gonna try to fuck us or whatever. And it's like
yeah.
this guy's like, I was 18, I had sex with a 16-year-old. Like, I just want to move on with my life.
I like how you presented it too, like it was like a fun game. Like
It
instead
was-
of
This
instead
guy
of
wants
hide
to
and
fuck
seek,
us.
it'd be
This
like
guy wants to fuck us.
I was like, dare me to trick or treat at the pedophile's house. Ooh.
loser has to go back and get fucked.
And I was like, I'll go inside. I double dog dare you. I'll do it. I swear to God. That was like literally.
I will
me.
fuck this guy.
I will fuck this guy as a joke.
And it turns out it's like a Boo Radley situation. He's just like an innocent little boy, and they just created all these stories about him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, good time.
Anyway, Roanoke. Let's go around the horn here. I want to hear everybody's final take. What was it?
My final take is probably the most boring one. I think they went on a little boat ride, couldn't hack it, died. Over to whatever the fuck it's called.
Croatoan. Yeah. Max, you're up.
I also do want to do a little combo situation. It was demons, but the demons inspired the cannibalism that left you with one fat man standing. That ate everyone else.
I love that image.
And that he only put Croatoan to take the scent off of himself.
Yeah.
You blame it on the Native Americans.
What's more intriguing, your theory or the little twist that instead of a fat man, it was the little baby Virginia Dare who ate everyone?
She ate everyone.
Yeah.
She was the demon.
That's a twist.
What's yours, Ben?
What's your theory?
I think that
Aliens?
everything else here has some real hard facts attached to it, but I'm going to go with aliens because
Yeah.
it's just a word there on the page.
It makes sense.
It just jumps. I love it. I don't know. I feel like, honestly, this is frustrating because it happened so long ago, and there really is. It's like history was had, and the fact that it keeps popping up, you keep getting got by it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel like this is one that we're gonna come back to and be like, well, what point does Croatoan play into this one?
Also, to your point, they started settling the area so many more times over the next 400 years, 500 years, that all of the, like, trying to trace DNA evidence or fossils or all that stuff, it's very hard to find anything that you know for sure was from this actual expedition.
Well, that's bullshit.
I don't think we'll ever know. I think we're going to get got forever.
I do hope that in the afterlife at the end, you just get an answer to all your questions. Or you get like 10 that you get an answer to.
Oh,
Who
that'd
killed
be nice.
Kennedy? You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want to know. I got a couple questions. I want answers. Then you can send me right to hell. Anyway, thanks for listening to the podcast.
Wait, there's one last thing here that says that Virginia Dare became a white doe, but then it says underneath
What's a white doe?
the deer, right?
A
Doe, a
deer?
deer.
What the?
A deer, a doe, a female deer.
I think you messed up the lyrics. Doe, a deer, a female deer, right?
Oh,
I think that's right.
all right. Fucking this guy, songstress over here. What did Virginia do? Go ahead, tell us.
I know every line of Sound of Music.
No.
Oh, this is different. This is insane. They really got desperate here. This one came even after Aliens. Basically, there was a poem that they admit is a fictional poem where she became... We should have ended this podcast a minute ago. All right. Never mind.
All right. Well, sorry.
Forget
Way
it.
to go, Ben.
Thanks for listening to the podcast. Please rate us 5 stars if you liked it or not. Who cares? Just rate us 5 stars. What's the difference to you? It makes no difference to you. Please.
Yeah, and just know that if you do rate us with 1 star, we will go to your house and carve Croatoan into your bed.
We won't do anything else. It's not... We're
We
not
won't
really
do
being
anything
threatening. Just going to write it there.